It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather. And because we get hungry from time to time, we happen to be sponsored by Marco's Pizza, which has another fantastic deal of the week I'll get to in a moment. But we're really talking about the next big thing, right? We know the cold is here. You don't need me to tell you it's cold outside. Have you pumped gas lately? Have you taken your trash can to the edge of the driveway, picked up some mail from the mailbox? You know it's cold. And if you liked it today, you'll love it tomorrow. So I'm going to leave that a little bit later in the stream. But let's focus on the next weekend storm, right? This is the big story. Everybody's talking about it. But wait a minute. Take a deep breath. Did you make it through last weekend? Do you remember how much hubbubaloo was going on going back to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day? It took like 6 days to inflate that bubble, and then it came down. Everybody said, "Pah, that's all I got. That's all I got." Those were the comments that I got from last week. Some of them were very interesting. This came by way of Vicki Smith. Now, say that they didn't get some snow, but they did. They did. No, you didn't see it because you slept in on Sunday morning. The rain washed it away. That's how dynamic this past storm was. But now that the cold air is locked in, there's less likely to have a mix. But this was a picture from Newport News. Vicki Smith, kudos to you for figuring out how to use the comment and the camera attaching a photo. She wasn't the only one. Mallory, want to give her props. This is from this was from the 25th of January, 2 days ago. And it's a little bit of a note here, but barely a dusting on our front yard here in Virginia Beach. Less than an inch, she writes, just enough to not actually see the grass with the dark light right at the nighttime, but it's not blanketed, right? Some people who are on Team Snow felt cheated. They didn't get what they wanted. But yours truly was going for a trace to 2, which means if you had a trace, it's a win. If you had 2 inches, it's a win. We're going to look at that, how much people may have had, may not have had. Now the question is, let's focus on the next thing, because as soon as one event's over, what happens? The hype starts inflating the next bubble. We're going to pump up this next big weekend storm, only to be told it's a whimper. Okay, see, I'm going to give you my take on it, and we're going to look at it. But here, number one is where everybody thinks that when you're 4 to 5 days out, this has got to be it. This is the higher snow totals. I mean, this one's going to do it, Aldrich. This one's going to bring everybody in Team Snow together in unity. I doubt it, because there's other tracks, right? There's other tracks. This low this weekend could go inside, like a baseball pitcher, right? It's an inside pitch. Mix precip types. That's what we had last weekend. Boo, I don't want that. I definitely don't want that. But could this third option be possible? Well, sure it could. Sure it could. Now, I suspect it's probably a blend of the blue line and the gray line. But even still, did I mention we're still 4 to 5 days out? It's not about could the models change. It's when they change. And it's kind of like, let me speak to for a moment. How many of you, I'm going to lose half my audience, maybe more. How many of you remember when a newspaper was delivered to your front door? Oh, I just lost a third, maybe a half inch. Half my audience says, I don't remember that. I wasn't born until fill in the blank. But if you are of the mindset, you can recall a time when a newspaper was regularly delivered to your front doorstep. What was in that newspaper besides the comics? A crossword puzzle. And you didn't know the answer to the crossword puzzle till when? The next day when the next paper came. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Now, in today's generation, it's media. We got to have the dopamine. We got to have the fix. I need certainty. You come to the wrong place. I can give you some probabilities. I can tell you my gut. And some people don't want to hear my gut because last time I said this wasn't going to be no 20 inches of snow, and you got, less than 2 in most cases. But I still think it's a blend of these two right now. And my opinion could change tomorrow. But the beautiful thing is it's not time to overreact with the adrenaline of social media. It's more likely you want to react to possible solutions. Because level heads prevail, right? Level heads prevail. So there's a lot could change with this particular storm. I'm preaching to the choir because those of you who watch me regularly know that I'm not going to sound an alarm on something that's still 4 to 5 days out when it could change. And it will change. But in this case, what are you looking at, about a half inch of snow at best in Norfolk? If this holds true, but it's not going to stay that way. Tomorrow it's going to shift again. And I'm going to explain some of the variables of things to look for. If you are a weather nerd like me, I'll tell you what you can look for in the coming model runs. because it may not be what you hope for, but it may be just what we get, right? Looks like some good snows for North Carolina. If this low comes off the coast of Savannah or Myrtle Beach, it could track like this. And this represents 4:30 on Saturday. If you're new to us, the timestamp's in the upper right corner. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But even still, this is not a lock-in. This is not a shoe-in. This is not, just like it wasn't a lock-in during the Dr. King hysteria that we're getting something big on Sunday. I won't even tell you the full story, but I was at a store yesterday because I was off yesterday. And I'll make this brief, but I said to this person who was at the store, I said, hey, you stay pretty busy in this store. And she said, not yesterday. She was annoyed. And I said, she didn't know who I was. I said, well, was it the weather? And her one reaction was, pah! They overblew it. Like her reaction was visceral. And I'm thinking to myself, am I responsible for that? Or is somebody else in the weather community responsible for that? Because you know who you are if you're doing this and you're scaring people that we're going to get 20, 30, 40, 50 inches of snow nonsense. You're going to be greatly disappointed, and you're really doing your neighbors a disservice rather than a service. If you're doing it for just the clicks, shame on you. That's my opinion. That's my soapbox. I want everybody to be informed. I want everybody to be realistic, well-grounded. And right now, the best grounded information is what I'm sharing with you on possible tracks. If this comes to pass, it is going to be windy. We got a full moon. We're going to have tidal flooding. Has anyone told you about that yet? Maybe so, but I'll tell you what, when all these lines are pretty tightly packed, that's a lot of wind coming from the north. So you're going to have a whole lot of issues. We better hope it moves further off the coast, because again, it could have a greater impact if it moves closer to land. Now, the snow forecasting timeline hasn't changed. We showed this before. When you're 6 to 8 days out, which we were on Dr. King Day, something may be possible. But now that everybody has a smartphone, everybody has access to the internet, everybody assumes that what's 6 days out is going to be what to expect. And that's baloney. It's going to become a changeable storm. Now we're 4 to 5 days out. I could say winds are becoming more likely. Some snow in North Carolina and the Hampton Roads area is becoming more likely, but it's not a shoo-in. Once we get into 1 to 2 days, 2 to 3 days, we start to plan, and then eventually snow totals are thrown out there. But it's way too early. I know it's an eternity for those who don't remember the crossword puzzles in the newspaper, but give it a day or two, it'll come more into focus. Does that help? I hope so. You know what might also help is the deal of the week. If you're hungry like me, and boy, I could use something at Marco's right now, WTKR 50, it's the call letters to actually save half off your pizza order. It could be pizza, it could be a pizza bowl. Now there are, to be fair, if you use the promo code, which are our call letters, WTKR 50, there are 6 locations that are participating in this contest, which again, we're also giving away free pizza. I forgot to mention that. We're giving away free pizza on Thursday for a year. Imagine having a free large pizza with 1 topping every month for the rest of 2026. That's pretty cool. If you want to register, it costs nothing to sign up. Go to WTKR.com/Marcos. You can do that. We're going to announce the winner like we did last Thursday. And because I'm starting today on a Tuesday, we have a shorter week, right? Today, tomorrow, Thursday, we'll be here before you know it, so it's not too late to sign up. The pizza for a year certificate looks like this. I love the fact that we've got Marcos as a sponsor. They're very generous to give away free food. Not everybody would do that, but if you go to Marcos.com, I recommend the Pozzoli is great for lunch or any time, and the Magnifico is a great pizza item if you've never tried Marcos. But really, to satisfy your appetite, sign up. We'd like to give you some free pizza. If you don't win free pizza for a year, you may actually win a 1-topping large pizza, individual pie, which we do every Thursday. But they've got so many things on their menu. They've got pizza bowls, subs, breads, wings, desserts, Greek salads, garden salads, you name it. And they even have gluten-friendly crust of cauliflower crust that you could check out as well. All right, getting back to the weather, I want to also check in with you because this would be a good time. I can import some new comments because I mentioned Vicky. I want to give her props because she captured an attachment, right? If you notice on your Facebook at the comment level, there should be a camera, and if you can upload the photo when you have snow events. And I did a live stream at midnight, or just 5 minutes before midnight on Saturday night, and people were telling me that they had sleet. Some people told me they had snow. Some people said they had rain. And I said, well, it can't all be true. I mean, weather people are just trying to just wiggle out of that. No, that was happening at the same time. Every neighborhood had a different experience. And if this track comes a little bit inland, we could have more mix. But I think at this trending path would push it more out to sea. It might be a swing and a miss. It might be grazing Hampton Roads, but it might actually graze North Carolina more. We have to wait and see how that actually plays out. Got a couple other notes here. Let me bring in the new ones, the new comments from this post. And if you have a opportunity to sound off, maybe you can tell me what you had in totals. Some of your snow totals might be higher than what was reported, but I got JL Breach, is one of our WTKR photographers. She says, snow this weekend? I hope so. I mean, it's possible. I mean, we mentioned day 6 and 7 and 8 when something's possible. Now it's becoming more likely we'll have a windy situation because confidence is growing that a coastal storm will form. But the devil's in the details, right? Where and how close will that storm be? If it goes off the coast of Savannah, it has the potential to move right out to sea, and it's a swing and a miss. And how disappointed will you feel if you were in the know or not in the know of that outcome? So let's see here. Do I have this right? It's Shavana Holloway. Well, what track is it right now, if anyway? Well, pick your model. Which breakfast cereal, Shavana, are you going to find it at the grocery store? Are you going to find Apple Jacks? Yeah. Are you going to find Frosted Flakes? Yeah. Shredded wheat? It's there. Which cereal are you going to find at the grocery store? You say all of them. So all those tracks are viable. Any one of them could verify. And that's really the dilemma of being a meteorologist. I think, and maybe you can laugh at this because it's really intended to be somewhat of a joke, but I think as a general society, we expect more from the weather community and specifically meteorologists than we do our own physicians. Right? If I went to my doctor and said, is this funny mole going to kill me? The doctor's going, I don't know. Here's my bill. Right? People say, well, can you tell me what's going to be doing at Newport News at 2:30 this Saturday? I need to know because I got a plan. Right? You have a higher expectation of weather people than we do our own medical people. That's my view. Tell me if you think that's even remotely close to being accurate, because we do expect a whole lot from people with certainty when you're still 4 to 5 days out. Anything could change, right? Let me emphasize this, models are still trying to get it together, and they're not there yet. And once we get a little bit closer, I know we like certainty, but again, it's the crossword puzzle in the newspaper. Here's what we have had. Look at that. No way has Norfolk had 2 inches of, 2.1. We had 2.1 inches. Now, there was a little bit of sleet, not a little, maybe quite a bit of sleet over the weekend, but we've now finished the season so far. If it ended today, if we didn't get another flake, which we probably will at this rate, but if we didn't, 2.1 is what we had, because we had 0.2 in the pre-dawn hours of November 11th, 2025, that's Veterans Day. We had 0.8 on Monday the 8th, that day. Goodness, Newport News, Yorktown, Williamsburg had like 3, 4, 5 inches of snow, when Norfolk only got 0.8, and Virginia Beach had 2 inches at Virginia Beach on that day. Some people can't remember that far back. If you can't remember what you had for lunch a week ago last Tuesday. But Saturday, officially, the airport 0.6 and 0.5, so that's a total of 1.1. Now, what did I say? You said we're going to trace. See, this is where right back to where I was. You said we're going to trace to 2. I only got 1.1. See what I mean? Can't win. Some people will take the 2, put it in their pocket. That's all they feel like they got cheated. If you're on Team Snow, and believe me, I have some notes here. Maybe I have it from my other paper. I've had 435 inches of snow. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. When we lived in Rochester, New York, in the 4 years I was there from 2001 to 2005, at the time, I had a Jeep Wrangler, and I had 435 inches and a half of snow that vehicle had gone through. The underbelly of that Jeep was just totally eroded with salt. I got hit by deer a couple of times going into work. I was doing the morning shift. It was pitch black every time I went to work. But I'd wake up at the crack of midnight, go into work, and I'd hit snow squalls all the time. So I'm on Team Snow. I don't have to prove to you, my audience, that I like snow. But I can tell you, if I don't see it in the cards 4 to 5 days out, I'm not going to react. Some people will, and some people will mislead you. I don't want to do that. When I have more concrete evidence, to Ms. Holloway's point, I will share it. But I'm just telling you there are multiple solutions to this problem, and any one of them could verify. Does that make sense? Anyway, 2.1, that's how much snow we've had so far this year officially. Now, I had said initially back on Halloween, I could probably say 3 to 7. I thought, but there had been evidence or signs that it could be way higher when you looked at an analog of all the years where no hurricane had hit the lower 48. And this was one of those hurricane seasons we're coming off of where we did not have any landfalling hurricanes hit the U.S. And I said in those years that many of them had been well in excess of 7 inches. Now, many of you remember 10.2, but that came last February 19th, and many of you had maybe even closer to a foot. But if you look at the service map tonight, we've got a series of troughs. I'm going to try to bring this back to the here and now. These troughs could produce some clouds, and where clouds form, that means snowflakes could form. You didn't get that memo? 10% chance. If you get, and there was a few yesterday, I was walking around, there just a little passing snow shower. Don't be alarmed. We're still in the same pattern. So we could see in some cases the spawning of a few few flakes, I should say, from Virginia Beach to the eastern shore. It's in the forecast. A 10% chance we get some flakes between now and the next 2 days, maybe even 3. But boy, was it cold this morning. Boy, was it cold this morning. 19 degrees occurred at 7:29 in the morning. Now, 19, to be fair, felt like it was 11. I'm expecting 20 tonight in Norfolk, and it'll feel like 12. So, about the same. That's why I say this is if today was a dress rehearsal, everybody's ready for the main event. That's tomorrow. It's going to be cold again. And maybe a few 10% chance of some flakes develop. Not a big deal. I mean, if you made it through today, you'll make it through tomorrow. It was 12 this morning in Suffolk, and it was 14 this morning in Chesapeake. But where did we finish? Barely above freezing for the second day in a row. Did you know we hit 33 yesterday? 33 today happened at 3:11 in the afternoon. It was 33 in Virginia Beach, 33 in Norfolk, 33 Chesapeake. Seems to be a common theme. The trifecta. 35 Elizabeth City. If you look at our current reading here at 7:56, we're getting closer to the 8 o'clock numbers. We're currently at 29 Chesapeake, 31 in Hampton. Got some new comments. Would love to say hi to you. Let's see. J.L. Bree has a follow-up, which I love. Says, my dog Hendrix, that's a great name, Hendrix wasn't impressed with the snow last week. She wants some big snow to do some zombies and eat the snow, LOL. Maybe some snow cream. That was a big thing in Tennessee. If you're not familiar with snow cream, I guess you could Google it. But, people like to do snow angels, make snowmen, snow women, so make anything you want. So you could do a lot of things with a big snow. And we're not there yet. We can reminisce about last February so far, but once we get more concrete information, we'll do our best to bring that to you. Because again, I'll be doing another live stream tomorrow. I'll be doing another one on Thursday, and I'll keep you informed out throughout the weekend. But right now it's 30 in Portsmouth, 31 Hampton. We have 28 Franklin and 32 in Manio. It is 29 Elizabeth City. The Harbor of Hospitality seems pretty cold. Moyock 31. Windsor, Bertie County, Windsor at 26. Franklin at 28. Smithfield 28. Wind chill right now, it's not 11, it's not 12, but it's 20. And I think it will be closer to 12 come tomorrow morning. By the way, did I mention the cold weather advisory? I think it's worth noting that back months ago, I guess not quite a year, but the National Weather Service removed the wind chill advisory and decided to call it the cold weather advisory. I don't know if that was the social science influence in the Weather Service, maybe a focus group, right? Because TV stations, we have consultants. They tell you should do this, that. Well, the National Weather Service gets the social scientists. I see them appearing at many of a weather conference, AMS, NWA. And so whether the colors or this focus group, cold weather is better than wind chill advisory, but it's the same thing. Wind chill, 5 to 10. So if you're old school like me, I still call it the wind chill advisory. I don't want you to be surprised because you're at home going, well, I'm cold in Williamsburg, but I'm not shaded in blue. No, you're not. You're still cold. But they have a threshold or a criteria upon which they're working from. So the Weather Service is all about criteria. So they believe the 5 to 10 above are in these areas, right? So just to be clear, that's not to say anyone slighted, I'm cold in Virginia Beach. Why am I not under a cold weather advisory? See, if you don't understand where this is coming from, then you get confused. You think that the Weather Service is out to lunch. Everybody's cold, y'all. But I'm saying the 9 p.m. to 10 a.m. is specifically for the Eastern Shore and parts of the peninsulas tonight. All right, hopefully I've exhausted that idea. Okay, now, tonight's lows, about 24 Virginia Beach, 19 Suffolk, 22 Elizabeth City. I think we've got a good chance to drop to 20 in Moyock, 20 in Norfolk, about 19 in Gatesville. All right, because tonight's going to be essentially plenty of stars this evening, followed by a mostly clear overnight. And there it is, 12. That's the wind chill forecast for tomorrow morning. At what time? 6 a.m. How many of you are out the door at 6? Is that when your alarm clock goes off? I don't know. Still feels like 6 in the peninsulas at that time. Eastern Shore. Maybe the best spot might be the Outer Banks. They feel like 22 at 6 in the morning. Now, if I advance this a little bit further, now I'm expecting a north wind tomorrow about 5 to 15, and it won't be as windy as it was today. We had a wind gust of 30 in Norfolk today. I don't think it'll be quite that high, maybe closer to 20, but even still, 27 still cold at lunchtime. That's the wind chill. The wind chill, the feels like temperature will still feel like 27 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So let me break it down to and for you, because tomorrow, much like today, it's going to be cold. This could very well be the third day in a row that we hit 33. That's what I'm forecasting. A mix of sun and clouds. More clouds coming in tomorrow night. Sun sets at 5:26. It's up at 7:10. And the winds 5 to 15 out of the north. Good time to talk to you if you have a chance. Want to say hi to you. Melanie wants to know about Elizabeth City. Elizabeth City is great. They are the harbor of hospitality. I had a chance last year to visit your beautiful city. What is the question? You're asking about snow? I assume you're wanting the details about the storm. We're going to revisit it at the end of the stream, and if you happen to catch this in late in the process, you can watch it at the beginning as well. But this is what I expect is cold weather for Elizabeth City with a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Hopefully that helps. Plan accordingly. So here it is in summary form. Burr, not a meteorological term, but a term that's well understood. A cold stretch. Highs this week will either be in the 30s or near 30 all week. I didn't get that memo, but now that I've heard it, I don't like it. Some people say I don't like it. More frigid mornings, temperature starting the teens and 20s, and we're looking ahead, watching a snow chance, right? It's a chance. And if you know about the idea of probabilities, right, there's a chance that we could get some snow, and maybe that snow is like a nothing chance in Williamsburg, right? Because it seems to be trending south. We showed a map earlier, but that's where we are at this stage in the game, and we're still 4 to 5 days out, because Saturday would be day 4 from now, and Sunday would be day 5. So we'll have to wait and see as we get closer. Now, if I look at the precipitation chances, I mentioned there's a 10% chance you get a stray flurry. In this cold environment, all it takes is a few clouds. I'll say that again. You could get a flurry basically with just having clouds in the room. That's how I saw them pop up yesterday evening. They just showed up. And I was like, oh, we got a little snow, a little shower. And then like 10 minutes later, it was gone. And that's the type of situation that's possible tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds. And I think it'll be true on Thursday. We'll look at it in the Futurecast. Now, this is the period of time, Saturday and Sunday, that we're watching for a possible snow chance. And it seems more sizable than a 10% chance. Temperature trend is stair-stepping down from 33, which would be 3 days in a row tomorrow, 32, 31, 29, and then 30 on Sunday. And if the track, 2 of the 3 that I picked, comes in on Sunday, we'll have the full moon, we'll have some tidal issues, we'll also have some sunshine, right? If this system pulls a little further south, then it'll pull out of here quicker, so you'll get some sunshine in the afternoon on Sunday. Snow would exit early, depending on track. That's the big bugaboo, right? We're that far out. The upper air pattern shows this storm that comes in this weekend very clearly in the upper air pattern. I want to show you the cold air that obviously is entrenched here on the 29th of January. Of course, that's this Thursday. So follow with me. Where do you think this southern system is going to show up on the upper air pattern? How far south will it go? Well, let's take a look. Whoa, stop it there. I see something there. That upper air, you've got a low that may actually follow this track, right? Whoop, out to sea. Maybe if it goes a little bit further south, like this might come off of Myrtle Beach. Some have come off of Savannah. Savannah bananas. Yeah, this weather could be bananas. It just depends on how far south it goes. And there, it would suggest it's probably coming off of Myrtle Beach at the upper air level. But the cold air will be there if this track holds this way, but it could also mean a mix if it decides to come inland. Right now I'm favoring option 2 and 3 rather than the first one that's along the coast or along the coastline. So we'll watch how this plays out, but even still, these things bounce back like a rubber band because by February 4th, it's all balmy again, and all that snow is melted, right? So we'll be warming back up likely by then, and then getting colder again going into the 6th and 7th, which is next Friday. Just checking in with you. If you got a comment, would love to say hi. I got Luke Alvarez. He says, North Carolina, When you say Carolina, say North Carolina. When you say Carolina, say heels. I don't know if that's what he wanted from me, but as a graduate of both Carolina and NC State, I can say that. Okay, and then Lynn Old says hello. He says, real Virginia baby, me too. Nothing beats pizza. He's got the pizza for a year certificate, everybody. Lynn is in pizza heaven. I'm so glad he got a chance to win that. David Marshall, being very sympathetic with his request. I understand he wants something. He says, can we get some snow this time, please? I'm just the messenger, right? I'm trying to follow divine revelation rather than human reasoning, right? We're going to let the AI do the machine learning while everyone else is going to apply some human reasoning. We'll see what happens, right? It's still early. It's still early. Every day is a gift. I'm not going to miss the gift of today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and be too focused on something that didn't happen last weekend. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people got all excited. And boy, did I hear it at the store yesterday when the lady said, these people, they blew out of that Porsche. And so it scares people away from the marketplace. Do you know we have so much going on this weekend? Not that you asked, but we have the Lions against the Norfolk Admirals. Friday and Saturday, you got hockey. Would a big snowstorm affect that business? I think so. What about the Jurassic Quest and the Brick Fest, which is Legos, live at Hampton Roads Convention Center? Do you think a snowstorm would impact the financial and economic benefit of them coming to town? I think it might. What about the Friday, Saturday, Sunday 73rd Annual Mid-Atlantic Sports and Boat Show? Boat show. You know, this is Virginia Beach, and this is the Outer Bay. Boats are big around here. People attend a boat show. We might not all be able to afford a boat. I can't afford a boat, but some people want a boat show, and who wants to have it torn down because of snow or the hysteria of a snowstorm that doesn't come to pass? See what I'm saying? I'll give you the information, but people don't think that through all the time. They're more interested in getting the clicks and the dopamine of saying what I want, and what I want is what I want. Okay, I get it. But let's wait and see. Let's let level heads prevail. Okay, we've got really cold air across the northern part of Canada, and it looks like it's trying to drop down on the 6th of February. I didn't show you yet, but this is today's upper air chart. It's not a forecast. This is an actual analysis at roughly 10 to 11 miles up. We call it 70 millibars. You can see the HPA there. But look at this. This is 27th of today. And if you move in a little bit closer, when you have warm air rises, cold air sinks. So by this standard, if it's a 30-day delay, typically 30 to 40 days, this will come down, but it will likely follow the contouring. So if it comes in like this, it will affect New England, and it does not mean we're getting a snowstorm, but I'd say sometime around the 27th of February, which is 30 days from now, 30 days from this point, then we probably are going to see it still hanging around. The cold air is likely to stick around. There's a lot of colors here. We got red, we got orange. So there's still a lot of winter in terms of the cold weather, but cold air is dry. Typically dry, does not typically yield a snowstorm. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me go back to the maps itself. Again, we were looking at this storm, not this storm, but the upper air chart. Today we hit 33. We hit 75 on this date, 1952, 1974. It's now 8:08. I do know that we've now had 16 below normal days. Where we stand, I believe, as of yesterday, was we were positive 0.4. Now, for comparison, I'm looking at all the highs, all the lows, right? This is where do we stand on normalcy? Where do we stand on what's normal or what's average? Clearly, below normal is going to take the cake for these last 4 days. There's no question about that. But if you remember, December finished 4.6. And I said there's no way that January would be as cold as December. Even at these 4 more days, and if you count today, you're probably going to, what, be -2? That's still not as cold as -4.6. December was colder, and I still think that that's going to play out. And part of it is because of the fact we had 2 record highs, right, back on that Friday and Saturday. That skewed the averages. And sometimes people like to get hung up on the numbers, but the numbers are what they are. We've had 2 33-degree days in a row. If you haven't downloaded the First Warning Weather app, I hope you'll do so. Pair it with the NOAA Weather Radio. Have multiple sources for information so that you know whether you're in a cold weather advisory or whether you're under any kind of snow alert. Average airport delays are 0, meaning there's no average be greater than 15 minutes. I look at this picture. Oops, got to come back on camera here because my computer decided to check out. I'll just reboot. But one of the interesting things about these travel delays, sometimes they don't always manifest in this way, but if we fly this back in, you can see that there's some weather going on the Pacific coast, right? We got some heavy rains, perhaps anywhere in Northern California. It looks like it's changing over to snow in the higher terrain. So if you're in the military, you have family in California, the northern part into Oregon, back toward Portland, there it looks like they're getting some rain on the way, and Seattle can expect more rain as well. So that's the big picture. Not a lot going on in the Great Lakes. Everybody's suffering from cold air. Even down in Texas tonight, between Dallas and Tyler, it looks like a little bit of a mix, trying to form maybe a touch of freezing rain or sleet maybe forming near Tyler. But right now, we're going to wait to see what happens over here. And where's here? I'm going to be looking at Savannah, right? Depending on what's going to happen. And this is where I want to kind of give you some insight. What I see happening is that what's going to drive this position of the low is going to happen up here. I'm going to go into this particular part. Where's Fargo? There's Fargo. All right, so I'm going to grab this, make this blue color. Can I make this blue? I think I can. Put a big old high here. Okay, so we have a big high, and you say, what does this have to do with the storm? It has a lot to do with the storm. I have a monster high that has, I believe, like 1047 millibars. A monster high on Friday afternoon will be around here. Now, if I clear this screen, it'll still be a monster high as it slides back down toward Oklahoma City by Saturday. Now, where's Oklahoma City? That would be down here. There's Oklahoma City. We'll stop there. And so this high from Fargo on Friday afternoon will work its way down here on Saturday afternoon. Okay? So understand that all weather is interconnected. By the time it gets to Oklahoma City, it's still a very strong high. It's forecast to be up 1042 millibars. That's a very strong high. So what it may very well do, like dominoes, will push our storm that's in the Gulf further south. It might be over, let's say put it toward Tampa. Put the low over here. I'm going to go back to red so we can kind of illustrate this. So this low is going to be coming in here, and it's going to be getting some pressure from the north to move further south. Maybe it's over Fort Myers tomorrow, right? And some of that interconnection will have to do with what's coming down from the north. Now, if that's where it happens to develop, it will emerge on the east side of Florida, no doubt, and that will happen on Saturday. But right now, the question is the low that's developing, is it going to be off the coast of Savannah or will it be off the coast of Myrtle Beach? So now you're beginning to see that there are multiple tracks, and some of them could hug the coast. Lesser chance it's coming inland, but even still, we're right back to where we started. I can give you all this information, and then you might say, well, could it change? And I say, yes, it's going to change. It's not could the models change, it's when will the models change? And the answer is tomorrow, and then they'll change again on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. It's just the nature of these models. People put too much stock in this stuff. It really do. And that's why I always warn you, if you are a weather nerd like me, to avoid the model worship. You know, when you're looking at the 6Z, the 18Z, the 12Z, you gotta see what every model's running. It's gonna drive you nuts. Don't do it. Enjoy life. Life is too short. That's my take. And if you want to see what Friday looks like through the 6th, this is what it looks like. This is one of the big picture, right? You didn't see this future storm last week when I ran this particular picture. It wasn't there, but all of a sudden, interesting. It shows up out of nowhere, and everybody's like, they bought into it. Hook, line, and sinker. They're all into it. Now, if this hugs the coast, we have reasons to prepare, but we're not there yet, right? Level heads prevail. Temperature right now as of 8:13 is 30 in Norfolk, 31 Virginia Beach. I mentioned how cold it is. That's the story. That's today's weather story. It's tomorrow's weather story. It's the next day's weather story. Poquoson, you're 30. Currituck, 32. Nags Head, Manio, currently freezing. Kiptopeke at 34. If you look at temperatures around the region, they're at 7 in Indianapolis, but I want to put your attention to, I don't like the red there, let me take that off. We'll go back to yellow because it's a little easier on my eyes, probably yours too. But the temperature in Pittsburgh and New York, because winds tomorrow will be out of the north, 5 to 15. So you're going to still see some cold air. It's not like we're going to warm up anytime soon. The cold air is still here. These are current readings. It's right now 7 Central Time, I guess, in Indianapolis, Minneapolis, 10 in Detroit, 10 in Chicago. But at least they're at 70 in Phoenix. And even southern Florida, Miami is not going to escape this cold. They're just not. They may suddenly see them in the 40s and they're going to freak out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, what's the freak out factor for temperature in Florida? I can tell you it's -8, -6 in parts of Canada, and all that is part modified as it comes down here. Got dew points that are single digits in many cases, if not closer to 10 or 11. That's very dry air, chapstick, lotion, you name it. Our knuckles are very much chapped with this weather. And you can see the future temperatures in the blue. That's the highway of cold air, continues to dive down to Florida and then works its way. Again, cold air is typically dry, but if it gets paired, not like Bluetooth, but if it gets paired with moisture or a storm, you can get a good snowmaker. But we're not there yet. Temperature outlook, 2nd through the 6th, very cold where? Florida. This is why I said the coldest shade of purple is in Miami. Miami is not too happy when temperatures are in the 40s. I think it's been, Tony Nargi, I believe, was telling me that it's been years since they've been that cold. I have not kept track of Miami, but I will say, looking at that, it looks cold by their standards. Below normal temperatures from the 4th through the 10th. This is the 8 to 14-day outlook. Shows it's still pretty cold on this side of the United States and very warm to the west side, from basically Utah to California. Now, if you're in the eastern shore, expect about 28 tomorrow. Mix of sun and clouds for Bloxham, 28 Saxes. Exmoor about 28. Onancock 27 and 30 for Cape Charles. Our friends in the Outer Banks can expect mid-30s tomorrow. 35 for Manio, 34 for Kill Devil Hills and Nags Head and Duck, about 35 for Danthe. And if you get in the upper 30s, it's more likely toward Hatteras and Ocracoke tomorrow. All right, time for the future cast. Before I get into the nuts and bolts, let's check in with Lynn Old. He's so kind. Hey, Dave's the man. Well, you got the pizza, so I'm going to say you're the pizza man. I love it that Marcos was so generous to give that to. Well, you had it randomly selected, but so glad to have him here. Amy Thompson. I haven't said hi to Amy today. She says, put extra blankets on your bed. I agree. I don't know if you have pets that behave differently. I know I have a dog. We named our dog Dew Point. My girls said, Dad, that's a terrible name for a dog. So they call her Dewey, and Dewey does her Dewey stuff outside. But you know what I mean. Dew Point's it's a great name for a weather guy. Anyway, I digress. I don't know if your dog acts differently in the kind of cold that we're dealing with. Some people, when thunderstorms are present, my dog's in the laundry room or under the bed. But she can't really fit under the bed, but she does try to hide in the corner of the room like nobody sees her. It's kind of like that. So maybe you have pets that behave differently. If so, let me know. I'd love to know. Find out. I think people are interested in taking care of their pets. But I mentioned plenty of stars for the evening. Notice once we go into 5 o'clock in the morning, we'll call it mostly clear. Notice I said anytime there's some clouds could mean that you get a spot of a flake. And maybe it's over here. So some flakes here. Any one of these clouds could produce a stray flurry. And that's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's midday tomorrow. I didn't see much evidence of that, but I mean, there's still the potential. I want you to focus on the eastern shore. That's 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Then once you get into tomorrow night, yeah, that's 10 o'clock. That's definitely looks like a snow shower approaching Exmoor and Onancock, right? You might get a passing shower. As I said, I love 10%. It's not something you should bank on, but if you get one, don't freak out. Somebody, it's snowing in Virginia Beach at 1 o'clock Thursday morning. Did you call for this? Did you call for this? And I said, yeah, we had a 10% chance. I mean, what's 10% to you and me? It's a small chance, but it could happen. So if you get a flake over the next 24 to 48 hours or more, don't be surprised. The big, quote-unquote, one that everyone wants to inflate, the weekend storm will be on the weekend, if we get it at all. But the flakes that you see here, sliding down into parts of Back Bay at 2 in the morning Thursday, is fleeting. It's not going to last. It won't stick around. But winds are generally out of the northwest, 5 to 15 tomorrow. All right, by 7 a.m. Thursday, midday, we got more sunshine. And even on Thursday night, there could be a few flakes. So again, if you're just visiting us here, it's 8:18. There is some expectation, or we should say, no, what it really is, we have some speculation, right? You ever speculated on the stock market? We're speculating that there could be some snow in your neighborhood. Do I expect it in Williamsburg based on this data? No. What about Exmoor? Probably not. But North Carolina? Yeah, you need to pay attention. Based on those tracks I put in there, but anything is possible. Like we're going to assume that when these models figure this out, and they got to do their job, right? They're not necessarily going to, it's kind of like you don't win a ball game in the first quarter. You got to get to the second half in the fourth quarter. Then you really can bring it home, right? So we're not to that point yet. But based on data today, This particular one would probably put about a ½ inch or less of snow in Hampton Roads. Not a lot. Maybe it's far greater. Maybe on this model would be 6 to 12 in North Carolina, but that's nonsense to me. I say that's nonsense to me because we don't know where this low is going to be. Are we at an understanding? We don't know. It's too early. Doesn't mean because we can't demand it. I want it. Weather's not a vending machine. Weather's not a vending machine. I want it to do this on Saturday. I want this on a Monday. I'm just the messenger. You can throw paper airplanes at me. That's fine. I can't win. But I can tell you that it's still too early. Even this is still too early. We'll have to wait and see. 7 o'clock Sunday, it looks like it's winding down, and then the sun pops out the second half of Sunday. So this would be primarily a Saturday night issue, because by Sunday morning, the snow would be exiting in that case. So again, we're looking at several tracks. The inside track is very key for mix. And then this would probably be your least favorite if you liked this past storm, which had sleet, had freezing rain, had some snow, had some rain, then you might like the inside track, right? Full moon, probably a mess for tidal flooding, messy. But the second option, which is what everyone's all excited about, that's not necessarily going to happen, right? It could, but it could easily go to number 3, with lower snow chances, or dare I say, I'm going to put this on, I can't believe I'm doing this, no snow chances. It could be a lower or a no snow chances. Ooh, I can't believe you said that. Because I just know it's going to change. I just know it. It happened. There's no perfect storm 5 days out in the future, or even 4 days, in my view. There's going to be some variability, and these models will figure it out, and then everybody will be like, well, I didn't get as much as they said. No, you probably bought into what somebody posted, and that's why I'm here to kind of sort through the noise. Temperature tomorrow morning about 20 south side, 21 peninsulas, 22 North Carolina, and by tomorrow it's going to feel probably closer to 12. 23 for Hampton, Cape Charles, 18 Gloucester, Matthews 17 for lows tonight, 21 Chesapeake, 29 Corolla, and the afternoon about 33. That would be the third day in a row. 36 for North Carolina, 31 the peninsulas, about 30 for Cape Charles, 32 Virginia Beach, 38 Elizabeth City, and Edenton about 39, Hertford about 39, and 34 for Nags Head. Here's your first warning, WTKR, News 3-7-day forecast. We've got 10, chance of a flake. It's cold enough to flake. So that's locked in. Then the Saturday, Sunday is still yet to be determined, but be prepared. If I put a percentage on it, I'd say a 60%. Maybe it's 60% of our viewing area gets snow and others 40% get nothing. But windy seems reasonable at this age or stage, and then snow ending early on Sunday with some sunshine popping out. And then next week, by the way, Monday is Groundhog Day. Puxatawny Phil's coming out, and oh yes, meteorologist Tony Nargi's working that morning, he told me. Of course, he went to Penn State. So Penn State's real close to Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. He has a very interesting viewpoint. You'll have to definitely tune in for that. I think it's funny, makes me laugh. But Puxatawny Phil will make an appearance. He might be a new Puxatawny Phil. I think I heard somebody said that. But anyway, Monday is February 2nd. Tuesday is February 3rd. Should be around 37 both of those days. Great picture from Mr. Wynn. Han Wynn says this is a picture from Hampton Sunrise, Grandview Island. I'm not sure when it was taken, but it is gorgeous. Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Charles, Newport News sunrise today. How's that for current picture from this morning when it was about 19 or so. But thank you, Charles, for that beautiful picture. And then this last one here is from Bradley Fullwood, Hampton sunrise today. Just absolutely breathtaking and gorgeous. But this was one of those days where you had deceiving sunshine, right? You looked out the window, it looked good, but boy, when you walked outside, you're like, it was just misleading. You didn't know until you were out there just how cold it really, really was. Just a reminder, satellite radar, basically clear right now, but we'll see some, I'll call it clear for the evening, mostly clear overnight tonight. We're looking for a high of 33, 32, followed by 31 the next 3 days. Did I mention we have the 50% off? This is one of the most popular promo codes to announce. WTKR 50, that means anything at marcos.com you decide to order, they'll take 50% off at checkout, right? So while everyone else is paying full price for pizza, you don't have to clip a coupon. All you have to do is jot down the promo code, WTKR 50. You can screenshot it, save it, share it, I think Marco's would love for you to share it and save it. But that's the deal of the week. So that's good through Saturday. I think you'll be impressed. If you've not tried Marco's, this is your great opportunity. Now, if you have tried other Marco's and they don't take that promo code, well, that's because there's only 6 locations that are doing it. 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk. WTKR.com/Marcos is the website to register. If you've registered one time, you do not have to keep registering. Our sales department puts it in a randomizer, and we get new names every Thursday. So that will be announced on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. But I would love to have you win free pizza for a year. That's a certificate that looks like this. Your name, if you are selected, would go to the top left, and you would get 1 in January, 1 in February, essentially 12 months. And now that we're coming to the end of January, you would still get it to January of 2027. So if you got it in February, you still get 12. You'll get 12 large one-topping pizzas every month for a year for free. I think that's a sweet deal. They didn't have to do this. This is generosity from Marco's, 100%. Pepperoni and sausage, my favorite Pozzoli. Make sure you pair it with some garlic sauce ranch or some marinara. And the pepperoni magnifico, also one of my favorite items to order, as I did get some Marco's this past weekend. So just a reminder, these things can change as far as the weather is concerned, and just not to lose sleep over it. It's really not worth it. And it's even worse that people will sometimes do it just to get people all riled up. And I think that in itself is can be malicious, but maybe they're just excited about hyping stuff up or being the first to tell you something that we still don't know. Okay, that's the bottom line. But just remember, it doesn't matter whether it's sunny or serious. Every day is a gift. Every day is a gift. That includes tomorrow, even though it's cold. Just make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow.